All right, I'm actually here with Eric DeLima Rube. Eric, you're
Yes.
a blue man.
I am. Yeah.
The funniest thing when you walked up, I expected that blue men wouldn't have hair.
Yep.
But you actually have hair under the blue.
I do. This is actually probably the shortest it's been in quite some time. So
no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have so many questions,
Yeah.
but we'll start with, of course, how did you become a blue man?
Well, I grew up loving theater, performing musicals, plays, really anything I could kind of get myself involved in. Like most kids, I saw some friends picking up guitars, and I figured, well, if I want to be in the band, I got to do something. So I took up drums. So, I just grew up acting and playing music. I went to school for theater, and I saw the show when I was in college and just absolutely fell in love. Just the combination of all the things that I already like to do. And so I auditioned. They said, yeah, you're a little young, come back after you graduate. And I did, and I got the job, and here I am.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
do you know offhand how many years Blue Man Group has been performing?
Yeah, so we first started on the Lower East Side of Manhattan in early shows in the late 80s. And the first version of the show that we do here in Orlando opened in 1991 at the Astor Theater in New York.
Oh my goodness. And so I heard that you've actually been a blue man for some time now.
I have. I think you could probably see more gray now than you did when I started. I first started with the show in 2001. And I worked in Boston, New York, Chicago for a lot of years and had a really great time. And then left the show, started a family, did some other things, and was really fortunate to have the opportunity to come back into the company in 2011. And I've been here in Orlando since about then.
So having performed at other locations, is there anything unique about being in Orlando?
Well, first and foremost, the audience. The audience is just unbelievable. Everybody down here is so ready to have a great time. A lot of them are on vacation, but even people that kind of live in Florida and come to see the show are usually just so excited to come and experience an evening with us. So that's the first thing I think it's really special. It's a bigger theater than a lot of the other theaters, so it has a really kind of big expanse to it, which is really fun. I also used to do shows in some of the smaller theaters where we only have one drummer. We here in Orlando have two, so it really fills out the sound more. So it's a really kind of unique experience that you get here.
Amazing. So, and we'll in your best way possible, if you could explain what is the Blue Man Group performance to someone who has never seen the show.
Oh gosh, how much time do you have?
Yeah.
I would say a Blue Man Group show is about experiencing your inner joy and your wonder. Coming into a place with strangers that you might never have met before. Obviously, you haven't met strangers, but even with your family that maybe you haven't shared this kind of experience, and really going on a journey together, discovering things about how we communicate, how we interact with each other through a common universal language, which is silence, through music, through eye contact, something deeper than just what we often do, which is talk to each other and try to explain what we mean, as opposed to just kind of sit and feel what it feels like to live in the moment.
Yeah. And who actually is a blue man?
So there's a lot of different ways to describe a blue man. Some people would say a blue man is a clown. I've heard some people describe a blue man as a very primal being. I like to think of blue man as an essence, a part of all of us, something that's universal, and be a childlike wonderment about coming to the show that we all can kind of relate to and tap back into when we're here in the same space.
That's exactly what I pick up as just this immense childlike curiosity, so as you see, kind of the blue man kind of discovering this world around you. I mean, there's something just so innocent and just you can identify with being a kid, remembering being a kid, and what it was like, experiencing something new for the first time.
Yeah, I think the first time that you ever experience something is something we work on a lot as performers, as actors, but also just as individuals that get to do this show, is how do we every night with a brand new audience approach something like it's never been done before. And when we really have that experience with an audience, it's really it's not something that you can replicate.
Yeah. And so Blue Blue Man Group is a great show for families.
Yes.
And can you kind of explain how kids interact with the show? Like you see the kids in the audience?
Yeah. One of the things that I love, so I'm a dad. I've got 3 kids. So before I was on my way into the show tonight, my 2-year-old asked, am I going to do Blue Man tonight? And I said, yes. And she said, are you going to dance? And I said, well, I'll probably do a little bit of dancing, I suppose. And then she said, are you going to put on makeup? I said, yeah, I'm going to put on makeup. And she said, that sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
And I just, when I do the show and I see kids, I see them, they don't have to strip away their day. They don't have to, like adults, we put so much on that we have to kind of shed to really get back to that. And children are just there all the time. They're ready for the experience.
Yeah.
And so I really feel their energy and ride how they're experiencing the show. And they're some of the most vocal audience members we have. And it really does kind of help the entire audience let their guard down when you hear a kid laugh by himself in the silence.
Having seen the show before, and it was about 9 years ago, and I understand it's changed a bit. So we're actually interviewing you before we're actually going to see the performance, and then I think we'll catch back up with you and your cohorts, and you'll be in character. So at that point, it's the Blue Man character, which again is completely pantomime or in silence. So one thing I wanted to ask is during the show, having seen it, I noticed it seems like there's a lot of opportunity for improv or spontaneous things to happen. And I'm wondering if there's any things that you can recall in your time doing this that were really surprising.
Oh gosh, so many different things can happen on a nightly basis because you never know what you're going to get. You've seen the show before, so it changes pretty frequently when we get new technology or we're working on new pieces. The show does change, and when the show changes, it normally is an opportunity to try something else out with the audience. We'll see how it works. But we also bring people up on stage, and you never know what's going to happen when you bring somebody up on stage for the first time. So we do this great piece where we sit down to have a meal with a guest, and I've seen everything from guests scream at the top of their lungs, panic, and sprint off stage. I've seen somebody I don't know if I want to say this on the podcast, but almost maybe throw up a little bit because they got a little sort of squeamish at some of the stuff that was happening. I've seen people just get up in the middle of the aisle and do the weirdest, craziest dance, and it brings the entire show to a stop because the Blue Man can't not watch somebody doing the weirdest dance they've ever seen. So that's what's great about the show is that even though the pieces might change, something that happens on a nightly basis is the audience. What are they going to bring to the table, and what are we going to have to work with?
So Eric, you're a dad, and if you were to bring your child to a Blue Man Group show, what kind of things would you want to talk about after the performance with your kids?
The first thing I'd want to talk about is first I'd say, what did you think about the music? How did the music speak to you? Because there's a lot that we use the music for to shape and tell the story, whether that's a mood or a feeling. The Blue Man is really in tune to his environment, his or her environment, and so we really want to. I like using the music as a way to talk about how they felt. I also like them to point out what was the thing that they really remember. What was the thing that made them want to jump up on stage with us. I like thinking about something that would get them out of their seats and want to take part in the experience. And then I because they're my kids, I want to know who they thought was the best Blue Man on stage. So I gotta ask.
Who is your favorite
Blue Man? Blue Man? It's usually one of my cohorts, but that's fine. That's totally fine.
If a kid sees the show and he's like, oh my gosh, that's like my dream job ever. I want to be a Blue Man. What would be a good path for them?
I think what makes the show so unique is that we all have such diverse backgrounds. I've performed with world-class drummers before. I've performed with people that have never acted a day in their life, that have a background in engineering or science, or they went to school to study English. I've performed with men, I've performed with women, and the thing that I think is the same across all the different Blue Man is that they just are curious.
Yeah.
They like to, they're willing to experience what's around them and really throw themselves into whatever project they're working on. So I would say if you're really wanting to be a Blue Man, if a kid says that's exactly what I want to do, to just whatever they're enjoying right now, to throw themselves fully into it, really experiencing it. Every project they take on, really get your hands dirty, live it to the fullest. That's the kind of energy that we look for in a performer.
Have there ever been any blue women?
Yes, there have. I was actually really fortunate when I first started. The first cast I was ever part of, I performed with a woman in Boston, and it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. And we are always on the lookout for anybody who fits the part, men or women. So we don't have any in the company right now. So for any young women that are listening, I hope that inspires you to come audition the next time we're holding calls.
And so what is it like wearing all the blue paint? Yeah. And it is paint.
Yeah. Full grease paint covered from sort of the bottom of your neck all the way across your entire head. It's if I could talk a little bit of not just about the makeup, but about the feeling, when you put it on, it really does transform you. It takes you out of whatever you've been doing that day into this other place. It's really, without getting too sappy, it's kind of magical to transform into this other being before stepping out on that stage. So what's it feel like? It feels like I'm putting on a new skin or something, and I get to go out and live a different life for a couple hours.
And after the show, do you actually do you actually then go where people are exiting, and do they get to kind of interact with you afterwards?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of the show is when we say goodbye from the stage. It's really goodbye for now because we go out into the lobby, we take pictures. Oftentimes we'll sign paintings or autograph books, whatever anybody sort of gives us. Sometimes people wear a big white T-shirt and just want a big handprint right on their chest. So I mean, that's really what we live for, is that interaction.
Oh my gosh, that's terrific. Yeah. So Eric, for someone who wants to see a Blue Man Group show, offhand, do you know all the cities, or how does someone get tickets? Yeah, how does a family make this happen?
Yeah, we are in 5 cities domestically, so lots of different opportunities to see us. Obviously, we want you to come see us here in Orlando, but we've got shows in Chicago, in Las Vegas, New York, and Boston as well. And all of the cities are unique and different. So if you go see the show in Vegas and you had a great time, trust me when I say you come see it in Orlando, it's going to be a completely different show.
Oh,
it's going to be a new experience.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Everything is run through Blue Man on the web, blueman.com. That's really your first stop for anything, learning about the show, learning about what it's like to be a Blue Man, how you get tickets, what I should do in the city when I get there. So that's really, I think, the best place to start.
That's great. And then I would imagine that's where you buy tickets and everything. One thing my audience loves to know is, what's the best way to buy tickets? Are there any promotions, that sort of thing? Is there certain seasonal things I should look for?
Yeah, I'm going to call out my my friend Nadira, who works on our marketing team and is fantastic. Apparently, I just found out that we have this really terrific deal that we're running here in Orlando right now, where Florida residents, $49 tickets. You could start purchasing them, I believe, October 23rd, and they are valid from November through December. It's $49 for adults, $29 for kids. So it's a great opportunity to, maybe have a little early Christmas presents, maybe, come out around Halloween, go see a Blue Man show. It's really a great time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Eric, thank you so much. Eric is a Blue Man, and I got to interview a Blue Man pre-Blue. Yep. So I noticed you've got maybe a little bit on your collar here.
Yeah. Always. I will sometimes
with you.
Yeah, at all times. Whether I want to or not. Sometimes I'll be having breakfast in the morning, and my wife will say, "I think you missed a spot over here."
There was one other question I really wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Do your Blue Man skills ever come in handy in other parts of life?
Oh, good question. If I ever need to stare down my kids for a while, my Blue Man skills really come into play. I also, we are a very musical family. So we like banging on pots and pans. We like, playing piano. So it's always great. I've got a drum set at home. It's always great to just kind of let the kids kind of jump on the set or teach them a little rhythm or So I think for me, all kidding aside, one of the things that Blue Man really gives me is a willingness to just play and have fun. And no matter how old I get, being able to kind of look at my kids and use them as the way to rediscover my youth, and I can tap into that a little easier because I get to do this show every night.
Yeah, having seen the show twice, I really like. So I'm so excited to have had this chat with you, and thank you so much for answering the questions. We're really excited to see you on stage tonight.
Yeah, of course. We will probably single you out at some point or another.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah,
I appreciate
of course.
it.
Yeah.
All right, so we just got word of a special promotion only for Florida residents, and so we'd love to invite you to come see the Blue Man Group yourself. Adults can get tickets now for $49, and you have to purchase it by the end of the year, and this is for performances from November 1st through January 1st. Kids are $29. So if you're looking for a great Christmas gift, this would be fantastic. Now, to get tickets, you have to go to bluemangrouporlando.com. Is that right? BlueManOrlando.com, and you can get your tickets right now. Again, $49 for adults, $29 for kids, and we'll see you at Blue Man Group in Orlando.